All right, we'll go ahead and kick off availability this morning at Kansas Speedway with Erik Jones, driver of the number 18 M&M's Red Nose Day Toyota. Erik, you're running double duty this weekend in your first appearance at Kansas. What are you doing to prepare for the track in both the truck and car, and has Kyle given you any advice?
Yeah, I watched quite a few videos from last year's race, not only on the Cup side, but the truck side too. So talked to Kyle. He won a truck race here last year, and the Cup side, he gave me a few tips, told me to lean on my teammates for that as well. But it'll be a fun weekend. It's a busy weekend. This is probably the busiest day of the weekend here today, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to learn a lot, but it'll be a good weekend.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start with Tom Jensen in the front.
Hey, Erik. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. The weather obviously isn't very good. The forecast isn't very good. Do you have concerns about getting track time prior to either race this weekend?
You know, I was a little bit. We got some truck time yesterday, which was nice. We got enough there, I feel like. But my main concern, honestly, was I felt like the truck was going to be good enough, and I felt confident enough in the truck that we'd be fine there. But I wanted to get a lot of seat time in the Cup car, obviously. So I feel like we'll get practicing today. I looked at the radar there a few minutes ago, and it looks fairly clear. So hopefully we can get laps in. I just really want to make a lot of laps. Hopefully we can go out and make long runs most of the day and stay in race trim and just kind of let me go and feel it out and get a feel for the car and see if I can pick up speed just going out and running laps. So that was our big goal today, was just make laps, figure out how to drive the track, figure out how to adjust our car to make it a little bit better, and just see what we can do.
All right, we'll go to Todd and then in the back to Lee.
Hey, Todd Palmer, Kansas City Star. I got to ask, how excited are you to make your first start in the SpongeBob SquarePants 400?
Yeah, that's pretty good and pretty funny, but no, it'll be fun. It's you know, it's a cool racetrack. It's my first time here. Being on track yesterday was my first time on the track, and it's a pretty neat track. I was watching the race from last year, the Cup race, and the groove widened out, which was cool to see. They got all the way up to the wall, so hopefully we can do the same thing in our race this weekend. But it'll be fun. 2 races, double duty, that's fun. Anytime I get to do that. But it'll just be honestly a learning weekend overall in a lot of ways, and really just excited to get going.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. I heard you defend yourself in Sirius this morning when they asked you, do you think you're ready? You think you're moving up too quick? What was it that you noticed racing against the Cup guys at Bristol that gave you the inclination that you're ready to go?
Well, you know, obviously that was a tough situation to be put in, and I felt like if we could have started farther up front, not all the way at the back, that we could have possibly finished a little bit better than we did. But I felt pretty comfortable in the car by the end of the day, which was nice, especially at Bristol. That's a place where, you know, I've never felt truly 100% like I've got that place figured out. So to feel that comfortable in the car there made me feel pretty confident about this weekend. And I feel like the 1.5 mile tracks are something that's come to me in the past few months, is something that I've figured out a little bit more, which makes me comfortable with, about this weekend. So, you know, I feel really good about it, honestly. With the Bristol was almost a big test session for me and let me get laps and let me knock some of that new car, new team rust off and get a good feel for it. Yeah, that was, you know, earlier in the year there, that was kind of the first race where I was like, okay, we got a car that's fast enough to win this weekend. Let's take advantage of it. Let's make it happen. And for most of the day, honestly, we did a lot of great work in the pits, on the racetrack, making things go the way they needed to. And unfortunately, just circumstance out of our control ended our day. But I learned a lot that day about not only the feel I needed in those cars to go fast and make speed, but some of the other things as well with racing around other cars, racing side by side, racing behind and around in traffic. And I think that was a pretty big learning day for me to get more comfortable in a car on a 1.5 miles. And I think I can take a lot of that stuff over to this side of things.
All right, we'll go to Kenny and then Brant.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Erik, not to look past this weekend, but you know, when the announcement was made, there was a little bit of confusion over, you know, were you going to be in the car for more than this race or just this race? Have they talked to you any more about, you know, what their plans are for you in the 18 car after this weekend?
No, we haven't yet, honestly. We haven't really thought much past this weekend, so we're all hoping Kyle can come back. I know he's ready to come back, but right now it's just Kansas and going out and see what we can do this weekend.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. How much different is the anxiety or the excitement level coming into this one as opposed to Bristol, because you've had a lot more time to think about it?
Yeah, Bristol, really, honestly, I didn't have any time to think about it, so it wasn't much different. But, I think it's just the comfort level of everything. I feel like in the Truck Series, I'm super comfortable walking in the garage, walking around, knowing where things are. Even the Xfinity Series now, I feel, 100% comfortable there. And anytime you go into a new garage with a new team and a new series, there's kind of that level of uncomfortable where you kind of walk in and you're like, okay, where's my place? Where do I go? What do I do? Where am I supposed to be? And that kind of fades with time and experience, and that's been my case, at least with the other two series. So, there is a little bit more, I guess, nerves going into the weekend. I'm not feeling them right now. I'm excited about practice right now, honestly, just getting on the track. And I'm sure as the race comes around and as we get closer to the start time, I'll be a little bit nervous about getting the green flag and going out and making laps. But, right now, feel pretty calm, but there's definitely more time to think about it.
All right, we'll go to Kelly and then Todd.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Eric, I kind of piggybacks off of Brant's question, but you've raced a lot already this year between trucks and Xfinity. And for rookies or young drivers, it's all about respect. That's what they talk about the most. Do you feel welcome in both the garages? And what's outside of Joe Gibbs Racing, what's perhaps some of the compliments or feedback perhaps you've gotten from drivers that you've raced around this year?
Yeah, definitely in the truck and the Xfinity garage, I feel like, we've earned the respect of most of the people over there, and definitely feel welcome when I come in there. The Cup garage, I don't know a lot of guys, so that'll be a big part of this weekend is earning that respect. But, it's been nice to hear some of the guys' compliments, especially after Texas with Brad and Dale Jr. and those guys. And, it's always nice to hear that you're doing things right and doing a good job. And, I think this weekend is kind of a different focus overall with being in the Cup Series. Earning respect has been a big thing for me in all three series, I guess the Xfinity and the Truck Series when I was first getting into them. And, even now getting into the Cup Series, that's going to be a big thing for me too. So it's going to be, interesting racing against those guys. I'm racing against so many guys that I watched on TV growing up for so long, and all guys that I looked up to. So it'll be a pretty cool experience. I hope I can learn a lot from them. I know I learned a lot at Bristol just running that race and just sitting in, and I'm excited what I can learn this weekend.
Todd Palmer again. You mentioned guys you grew up watching. I wanted to ask about one in particular, Jeff Gordon. You're a fairly young guy, so I don't know how aware you were of his period of dominance there. Obviously, the late '90s, early 2000s. But what are your thoughts on getting to run with Jeff here in his last season? As you're just coming in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Honestly, I never thought I'd get the opportunity. At the beginning of the year when he said he was retiring, I'm like, man, that's kind of a bummer for me because I'll never get to run against him. But, now getting that shot, I hope I can get to go out and race with him a little bit at some point. It's pretty cool. I caught the tail end of a lot of his dominance in the 2000s, and just to see some of that, I was a big Jeff Gordon fan growing up and always had all his stuff. And it was pretty cool to get to know that I'm going to get to race against him this weekend and be on the same track as him. I know at Bristol he was lapping me. I wish I could have been racing him, but it was still pretty cool to see that and just see him run on the track and be side by side with him for a minute.
All right, any additional questions for Eric? Okay, we'll go to Stan.
Eric, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Yeah, what was the biggest thing you felt you learned yesterday during that long practice in the trucks, and what is the biggest thing you hope to learn today, the first time you're able to get into a Cup car and get out on the track?
I think with the truck practice, it just helped me kind of get an idea of the track, see the track, get on there, see how the rubber builds up, see where the groove went. Some of the tendencies, we started on such a green track. It was interesting to see what the track did when it rubbered up, and we'll be on another green track this morning in the Cup Series. So that was interesting to see. That'll help, obviously, today with as it comes in and rubbers up what it'll do again. But I think today the big focus for the two Cup practices is getting me laps. I know there's many times in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series where we'll come in, we'll make short runs, get the car better, and then I'll tell the crew chief, hey, can I just go make a long run? And usually over the course of that run, I'll find a few things for myself that'll be like, all right, I need to do this, and I'll pick up time somewhere through there. So hopefully the same kind of thing can happen in the Cup Series. We'll go out and make a few short runs, make sure everything's good, get the car tuned in a little bit closer, and then hopefully go out and be able to make some long runs and try to figure out the tendencies of the Cup cars in a mile and a half, figure out what's different about them, hopefully race around a few cars and just kind of get a feel for everything.
Final questions? All right. Thanks for joining us, Eric, and good luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks.